Why is this woman naked? Why is she lying on the back of a car? All different colors, very inclusive, very tasteful. So my dad is one of 5 kids. He's the oldest, just like me with my 3 siblings. And as the oldest, I always thought it was crazy how we were supposed to be these role models when we're really just figuring everything out ourselves. You know, we're making mistakes, getting in trouble, embarrassing ourselves, figuring out what to do with all our new hair, while, you know, they're taking notes. As the oldest, there are no notes. But I did have my dad's youngest brother, one of my uncles. And being the youngest, he was the closest adult to being my age and my family. That meant he was the one that would know the most about everything I should know next in life. But also because he had his own basement apartment in my grandparents' basement. And down there, everything was lit by moody lamps and neon signs. Instead of a couch, he had a thing called a futon. Instead of a kitchen, he had a tiny fridge. But his stereo was huge. In his bedroom, he had a waterbed and posters of sports cars and bands I'd never heard of. In this 7-year-old's opinion, it was the absolute coolest place I'd ever seen. My family called it a bachelor pad. And this wasn't the first time I'd heard that expression because my family started calling my dad a bachelor after my parents got divorced. Now, being a single dad didn't have as many perks as being a single uncle. For one, we didn't have any cool posters or any neon wall signs. But I knew that your status as a bachelor wasn't because of your cool decor. A bachelor was somebody who was looking to meet a girlfriend. So that's usually what my uncle would be doing whenever we'd visit my grandparents, getting ready to go out to meet a new girlfriend. And that's when I would snoop around. So this one time I'm in his room and I see something new on the wall where the posters used to be. It was a calendar and there was a woman on it. And she was wearing nothing except very small underwear. And she had this expression that invited me to look closer. So I did. I mean, there was so much to see and so much I didn't understand about what I was seeing. Why is this woman naked? Why is she lying on the back of a car? Why does my uncle have this as a calendar? Is this a bachelor's calendar? And suddenly I became intensely aware of my surroundings. Like, I got this tingly feeling like I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing. The only other time I felt like this was when my mom would take me into the women's changing room at the, public swimming pools. While she got changed behind a curtain, I was left staring at all kinds of nakedness. But it was weird because it was like I was invisible to them. But I still have that tingly feeling, the same tingly feeling, that even though I look young for my age, I probably shouldn't be in the women's changing room seeing what I was seeing. The same way I was probably a little bit too young to be looking at the sexy calendar in my uncle's bedroom. But I couldn't get in trouble for seeing something, right? So, whenever we visit my grandparents, that's usually what I'd do. I'd sneak down for my date with the calendar. And it was the only thing I would think about when in the months I wasn't there. Until something much more powerful grabbed my attention. Something I could talk about and share with the world. Batman. 7 years old. It actually made me forget about the calendar. And I transformed my room into a shrine to Batman. I had Batman bed sheets, the Batmobile, the utility belt, and I even had a neon wall sign in the shape of a Batmobile. And I kept learning new things about Batman that made me love him even more. Like, Batman, Bruce Wayne, is also a bachelor. So I continued to collect as much bat stuff as I could through birthdays and holidays. So when my teacher handed out a class list for Valentine's Day for us to hand out cards to each other in our class, I could think of no better theme. That night, while my dad shopped for groceries, I perused the stationery aisle at the grocery store looking for a Batman card. Now, it's a long shot, Valentine's Day Batman, of course. And I was about to settle on a generic red and pink design, but then I saw a discounted items bin. In this sad, carefully dumped pile of supplies, I found 32 Batman and Friends Valentine's cards. Each of them had pictures of Batman and one of the other characters, even the bad guys. They had all come together for Valentine's. And they were all discount. How is the supply of Batman-themed Valentine's cards outpacing the demand? I had no idea. Seems like I'd be the only kid giving out these amazing cards. So, back in my room, I closed my door, put on the Batman soundtrack, pulled out the class list, opened the box of cards, and they were already pretty amazing. They had messages in like those little word bubbles, like "Be my sidekick," or "Oh, clues, lead to love," or my absolute favorite, "It's not a crime to be my." I think the Joker said that. But they needed something more. They needed something special for me too. But suddenly, I couldn't remember what the assignment was about. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to make cards for everybody or just the girls. So I went downstairs and asked my dad, and then he explained that Valentine's Day is about love, and you give a Valentine's card to someone who you want to be your girlfriend. But we were all a little too young for that. Well, it had been a year since the sexy calendar, and I'd been making my room the coolest place since the Batcave. And I didn't know about the rest of the class, but I didn't have a girlfriend. Because like my dad, my uncle, and Batman, I was a bachelor too. So I needed to express all this with my cards. I built up my pencil crayons, I got to work. For the girls, I drew something I'd been drawing all year long. I drew the bat symbol, you know, yellow and beautiful. But for the boys, I drew something I hadn't drawn before. For the fellow bachelors, I drew breasts. Not naked bodies, just disembodied breasts. Big ones, small ones, all different colors. Very inclusive. Very tasteful. Some I even used as the O's in writing the word boobies. Oh, I had to be more creative because I couldn't draw breasts as well as I could draw the bat symbol. But when it was done, I was happy with each and every one. And I proudly signed my name, David F., to make sure I wasn't confused with the other David in the class. I wanted recognition for my art. On the way to school the next day, I didn't tell my dad or show anybody the card. I wanted them to be a complete surprise. I thought the class would be blown away by the action-packed Batman theme and 6 degrees of art. I even imagined the school calling my dad to praise the kid, change the face of Valentine's Day card. But as I carefully dropped my cards into each of our cardboard Valentine's mailboxes, I had that tingly feeling again. It hadn't occurred to me that some of the guys might be a little bit too young to be seeing breasts, but they couldn't get in trouble for seeing something, right? But could I get in trouble for drawing them? Nah. At the end of the day, we took our Valentine's mailboxes home, and I emptied mine out onto my room floor. And they all had typical Valentine's greetings, but there wasn't a single drawing or unique theme. Was I the only one that made something truly from the heart? Oh well, at least they'll remember my cards. The next day came to school with even more confidence than I did the day before. I was sure the guys would ask me, "Where did you learn to draw those?" And I'd tell them about the calendar with a woman wearing very small underwear. But the day came and went, and no one said anything, not the girls or the guys. But people were talking about my cards. A lot of parents. And those parents had called the school, and the principal had called my dad after all. But I didn't know anything about that yet. That night, I tried to forget about the cards. I just kept to myself. At the opposite end of the living room, my dad was lying on the couch with his eyes closed like this. It was not a normal scene. Normally, he'd be making dinner, watching TV. Instead, in the silence of our living room, even I could feel the weight of something on his mind. Then suddenly he called out, "David?"
Yeah?
The question he asked next always stuck with me for how much it implied about the conversation he must have had with the school. An awkward conversation. He spoke quietly and still with his eyes closed. David, do you know the difference between love and sex? I didn't. And I had a feeling I was too young for the question. That's it. Thank you.